Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Evening. I say evening, it's the middle of the night over here, wherever the hell in the world you are. Welcome back to a Fistful of Tangoes. I'm your host, LD of Beyond the Summit. We are delighted to be bringing you this tournament. 8 of the best players in North America and Europe in the professional Dota scene will be duking it out for over $500 in total prizes. We do have a little bit more at stake. It's now time for the new rules to kick in for this tournament. I know something a lot of people weren't entirely pleased. I still thought we had some amazing matches. And hey, Dota is ultimately not going to be a 100% balanced game. There's lots of random things in it, but we have decided to tweak the format based on your feedback, based on the community's feedback, to make the matches a little bit more balanced, to give the players a bit of a fairer shot. So we're going to go over that new format right now, and then we'll dive into today's matchup. So the new rules, there are some changes. The same rules apply as far as basic game concepts. So no bottle quelling, no soul rain or neutrals. Runes are still enabled. Something we're just not going to change. We really like the element of randomness and just excitement that they add to the game. On top of that, an extra 150 gold for the courier. That is still the same. Hero selection remains identical. So we give the players 3 possible matchups. I see the typos back. Yikes. Somehow El Gato is just hacking my computer. So we give them 3 predetermined possible matchups. Again, we have other pro players who review these and sign off on them, basically say, yeah, these are pretty fair matchups. We think overall it's a good pool. Then the players secretly veto those matchups. If both players veto the same matchup, we have 2 matchups remaining, and then we go to a coin flip to determine which one of those remaining 2 is played. If they each veto a different matchup, well, then there's only one left, so we know which one they're playing. There's no picking. Even at that point, they're only vetoing or banning, which is another word for vetoing the matchups. They're not picking or banning heroes. They're just banning matchups. So then we go to coin flips to determine who's going to play which hero and which side they're going to start on. For that first game, first player to get to 2 kills or to 2 towers wins. Pretty simple stuff. Then we go to a game 2. The players swap sides, they swap heroes, and we do it all over again. After game 2, if it is a 2-0 lead, that's it. It's a best out of 3. The series ends there. If, however, the players have split evenly, if it was a 1-1 tie, then we go to a deciding game number 3. And the only fair way we could think of to do this was 1v1 Shadow Fiend mid. There's no items, there's no runes, and you might be saying, why? Well, the reason is Dota 2 doesn't have same hero mode. Our options are a bit limited. So, because we can't do same hero mode, we have to use cheats to spawn a second Shadow Fiend. And when you do that, the Shadow Fiend cannot use items, and as a result, we're pretty much, the only fair way to do it is to just say no items for either hero. So in this game, it could drag on. It has a tendency to maybe do that. So we're just making it the first kill or the first tower wins. And that should hopefully be a little bit more of a balanced format. So that's going to be the format the rest of the way for the tournament. If the 1v1 Shadow Fiend turns out to be really boring or really annoying, we may consider tweaking that. But otherwise, the first 2 games should play out pretty much the same way. So I've talked about the new format. That pretty much covers it. I think it's time to move forward into the brackets for this matchup. Today's match is going to be S4 versus Kuroky. As mentioned, a best out of 3. Each of these players, I mentioned there will be more prize money. Specifically, each match was going to be worth $20, but from here on out, all the remaining matches are going to be worth $40 each. So the players are playing extra games, we're going to pay them some extra moolah. And we'll see. It gives you an incentive in some ways maybe to drop down to that loser's bracket, as you do get to play some extra matches. But of course, first place is going to be at least $200. We haven't decided exactly how we're going to distribute the extra money that a very generous community member who wanted to help out these players chose to do it. But at least $200 for first place. So pretty top heavy. And as a result, is it worth dropping down? If you're super confident, maybe you want to throw a match and have a shot at some extra $40 winnings. But we'll see. Just more interesting stuff for, to throw out there and let it percolate in your brains. But today's matchup, S4 versus Kuroky. Kuroky, a wizened veteran, and S4, of course, an up-and-coming player who has had some impressive moments, particularly a DreamHack winner. Kuroky has struggled to really find a stable team over the past couple of months. He switched through roles a bit. We've seen him on hard carries. We've seen him playing, even a semi-carry role. Of course, that's what we're used to seeing from Kuroky back in the day, a long time ago. But nowadays, he's playing that support role, and the question is, has his solo skills, have have his solo skills atrophied. There you go. The word's coming out smoothly now. It's been a long day. It has been a long couple of days, but a lot of exciting matches coming up. This one's going to start it off, S4 versus Kuroky. Now, it's a best out of 3, and rather than just give you guys the full series now and then have nothing the rest of today, we're going to break it up. Game 1 will happen before the first series for today, which is going to be For Love versus LGD International. Then we'll come back for Game 2 before the next series, which is DK versus LGD China. If a Game 3 is necessary, we'll show that after that series ends. That way, you guys have something to look forward to before each match. Yes, I know some of you want all your cake, all your Christmas presents at once, but we are going to make you moderate. We're going to force you to spread it out a little bit and hopefully give you a little something to look forward to at every point of the day. So, with all that being said, that covers the brackets. That covers the context for this match. The loser out of the tournament, the winner, still fights on. They will face the loser of Cinderin versus Kuroky. So, with all that being said, let's dive into the matchup. We gave them 3 matchups: TA versus Batrider, Leshrac versus Shadow Shaman, and Queen of Pain versus Lion. Who did they choose to ban? Well, I won't bother breaking down the matchups too much. You guys can do that yourselves in the chat, but I want to get forward into what they actually chose to veto, and well, here we go. Let's see. It was 2 different vetoes, so they're not valuing each matchup the same. They have different opinions of these. Kuroky is going to ban out the Batrider versus TA, and S4 goes ahead and removes the Leshrac versus Shadow Shaman. So 2 very different matchups. 2 on the top. The first matchup, much more hero killing focus. The second one could involve hero kills, but more likely to be decided by sort of a pushing style. And then we're left with this third matchup, Queen of Pain versus Lion. Also very interesting in its own right, and a matchup where Lion has that terrifying burst damage potential. He's got the lockdown. That's something Queen of Pain lacks. Queen of Pain doesn't have the disables, but she's got the mobility. She's got arguably the better pushing power with Queen of Pain. It's close because you can spam that Earth Spike, that Impale from Lion. We'll see how the matchup plays out. And it could be interesting. Lion, once he hits level 6, that's going to be his moment to strike. He'll have that insane burst damage. And we'll see if Queen of Pain can be punished, but Queen of Pain should have the edge when it comes to rune control. We'll see if she gets lucky with those runes. Maybe Lion goes to take a guess. Either way, the matchup, it's about ready to get underway, and here we go. It's Queen of Pain, and S4 playing that Queen of Pain. The coin flips reveal he'll be on the Radiant side to start this off. Kuroky on the Dire as the Lion. But remember, it's a best out of 3. Each player gets to play each side of this matchup, so after Game 1, we'll take a break. We'll switch the players up. We'll come back for Game 2 a little bit later today. So no matter how it turns out, don't worry. If you think it's unfair, they'll both get a shot at it being unfair, and that should make it fair. Funny how things work. Okay, guys, without any further ado, I think we've talked enough about the new rules. We've talked enough about the upcoming matchup. That's enough yammering, folks. It's time to get this rodeo on the road.
Prepare for battle.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. We are live inside the game, and now we have the correct overlay. It's going to be Kuroky playing the Queen of Pain. He's on the Radiant side. Remember, these players, the loser of this series is done in the 1v1, and their pride perhaps slightly diminished. The winner is going to have a shot to move forward, and it seems that gods may have given me wrong information, as it looks like S4 is actually starting on the Dire side. Or maybe I got my slide mixed up. I'm not sure, but either way, this is Game 1, and it's going to be Kuroky on the Queen of Pain. He's opted for an early salve. He has that courier scouting at the rune. You can see it hiding in the tree's top, and we're going to see what he chooses to spend his gold on. Will he go for that ultra-aggressive eco build? No, he's going to get a mantle. He's going to get some extra damage. Over on the Dire side, we have S4, early observers placed, and placing one rather aggressively in the enemy jungle. This is going to spot any sort of movement from the Queen of Pain. Important, because now he can see not only the rune, but if she gets a good ganky rune, if she's heading in towards him. So went for that aggressive ward, wasn't worried about the level 1 engagement, and is going to have some good rune vision.
Begins.
Not opting to use his courier. And this is important, an important distinction. He's up against Queen of Pain. If that courier got spotted, it would be an easy courier kill because she's got the blink. Lion, below average base move speed. He actually runs slower than the courier. So Queen of Pain can use the courier to scout and can be less worried about getting sniped. So now we see the mid block. Who's going to get the better block? It looks like decent from Kuroky, but S4s are just a little bit better. More of that wiggle waggle back and forth. He'll have the high ground advantage. When it comes to trading auto attacks, generally Queen of Pain's going to have the edge here. She's got the better auto attack damage, especially with the extra stats and higher base damage, and of course the Shadow Strike. Kuroky is going for the Shadow Strike build. At least 1 point. When you're in 1v1, Shadow Strike is really important. The only reason to skip it would be if you're up against, say, a tri-lane on the side of the map, or you're up against a dual lane where you don't really want to get close. Notice S4 using that Earth Spike not only to get some harassment damage in, but also last hitting as well. And with the high ground advantage, it's keeping Kuroky a little bit more defensive. Kuroky, he saw the regen on top earlier. Now he's going to go and pick it up. But S4's to be happy about this, and he's going for Mana Drain. He's going for just a way to kind of neuter the Queen of Pain. Well, I'm interested to see how many points he goes for. You generally want to get at least 1 point in Hex to set up your Earth Spike. And even at level 1, Hex is quite good. It gives you nearly a 2-second disable, more than enough time to set up the Earth Spike. But the early levels of Mana Drain are going to allow you to just harass the Queen of Pain, remove her mana pool. Without that mana, she isn't that scary. And he went for a lot of plus damage. That's going to further delay his bottle. And S4 now forced to back off, but he's starting to move the mana down. Kuroky blinks forward. He hasn't taken a third skill point yet. He thought about a first blood opportunity. Didn't skill Scream. I think he would have had it, but just wasn't sure he would. Now he levels up Shadow Strike. And unfortunate for Kuroky, he had a shot there to first blood, but leveled up the Shadow Strike. He blinks in. Now, just not finding the opening. This might be a huge mistake. Kuroky throws a kill away. Thought he had S4 there. Feeling a little confident, a little overconfident. And an early first blood for Lion for Queen of Pain. This is borderline disaster, because Lion is going to hit level 6 before she does, unless he makes a mistake. And Kuroky, he's even going for Shadow Strike build, which means he can't even outpush the Lion, taking 2 points in it. Until you hit level 7, your Scream won't be maxed, and that's only if you skip your ultimate. It's really going to limit his ability to do burst damage. Without that burst, you got to angle for mid to late game. Bottle up on S4. He's going for the bottom rune. He actually has a ward at both hills. You'll notice he placed this one here a little bit earlier when he saw that Queen of Pain heading towards the regen rune. Made sure that he would see whatever she got, and also have great vision of her movement. So has wards up, has the bottle, and closer to his boots. This is looking like a lot of trouble. This is a matchup Queen of Pain can win, especially through better rune control. When you give away that first blood, it really does get tough. And notice S4, just understanding the range of that stun perfectly. And even though Kuroky blinks in, he doesn't have a leveled up Scream. He hasn't even Shadow Striked yet. He might give up another kill. There's an Earth Spike. That blink has a 4-second cooldown. This could be the end of the game. This could be one of the shortest games of 1v1 ever, but Kuroky gets away with 10 HP. Oh man, Kuroky is really playing ballsy. Even though he lives though, I don't know. This is not looking good for him. This is looking rather troublesome. He's a bit behind on levels, but only very slightly. S4 went to the bot rune, and Lion, with that 290 base move speed and not having his boots yet, does waste a lot of time. S4 just predicted the Kuroky blink, and he will get away. Kuroky not really throwing out the Shadow Strikes. The one downside with that Shadow Strike, it has quite a bit of a wind-up compared to... Oops, keyboard messing up there. Compared to the Scream of Pain, which is pretty much instant. So, I don't know that Kuroky really wants to be trading blows here. He misses quite a few creeps going towards that top rune. Remember, he doesn't have wards. He doesn't know where the rune is. And he's falling behind. That level 6 is coming. A well-timed Hex, a well-timed stun, Finger of Death. That could be it. And the new Finger of Death does 600 damage before reduction. I believe 25% of that is 125. So you're looking at 475 damage plus the Earth Spike, another 200. And that's going to be another 150. Yeah, it's a lot of freaking damage. It's almost the Queen of Pain's entire HP pool. She needs bracers. She wants to go in now. Late with the Shadow Strike and still diving. Kuroky might just throw the game here. He knows once S4 gets 6, he's pretty much screwed. But S4's juking. S4 has an Impale. He's going to have a finger in one creep. I don't know if Kuroky realized how close he was. Oh, he'll be able to get away with that Finger of Death being up. We may see this game end with Kuroky just walking towards S4, getting fingered, and losing the game. That always sounds so wrong. He's actually got a suicide to Roshan. He's got a suicide to Rosh. Free fountain trip for him. Buys the TP, and it's 2 kills. Suicide to Rosh does not count. The enemy hero has to get the kill. And so the game goes on. A cute little tactic by Kuroky. Reading those rules carefully, I gotta say. Salve comes in for S4. This is still bad for Kuroky, though. He does get that free fountain trip, but still no boots on him. This means that Lion can run him down, basically. And once he gets a single point in Hex, probably at level 8, then he can have that easy, reliable initiation. Normally what you want to do is, maybe just win the game here. No, not quite enough. Every time Kuroky takes any damage, he has to bottle. Otherwise, he'll die to that combo. The combo does take a lot of mana, though. 345. S4 is going to have to make sure he always has enough. The 6-minute rune about to spawn. And Kuroky, hopefully he'll get something good. He's going to need it. There's your Impale. Just mana burning. S4 just bullying Kuroky. And he's actually keeping up in CS. This is the other downside to going for early points in Shadow Strike. You can out-CS your opponent if you're zoning them out of the lane. But if you're not able to trade blows, which he's not right now, he's just going to be driven away, and you know, then you wish you had Scream of Pain, where you could last hit, where you could push the lane and control it a little better. One thing Lion's bad at is last hitting under his tower. His base damage is quite low. But with this Mana Drain build, he can spam Earth Spike a little more. Now he hits level 7. This is about as big as the burst gets. Until level 11, but if this goes to level 11, Kuroky should have the edge. He can outpush the line, he can control the runes better, and in a longer-term game, I think Kuroky can win this by pushing. That's just something S4 isn't going to have the edge in, so this is really the point where S4, he wants to find a kill. Maybe we'll even see, potentially an early smoke. Just try and catch Kuroky off guard, but most likely, just going to be spamming that Earth Spike, looking to find an opening for that Finger of Death, and then win the game. Remember, once there's a single point in Hex, once there's that 1 point, he can throw the Earth Spike out even if he misses. If Kuroky blinks in, he'll get Hex. Then by the time the Hex wears off, the Earth Spike will be fairly close to cooling down, depending on how quickly Kuroky blinks in and how quickly he is to run away. So Kuroky's got to be a bit careful about those offensive blinks. Generally, when you're down like this, you save your blink for defensive play. He hasn't even screamed the creeps, and the issue is, if he walks in range to scream more than 1 or 2 creeps, he's in range of an Impale, he's in range of a couple of auto attacks. And if you can auto attack first and then Impale after, you maximize your damage. He's got the wand charge, he's got the ult, but not quite enough. Too much HP on Kuroky. Kuroky's hiding in there. Imagine if he hadn't given up that early kill. It's a matchup that Lion has that big early kill potential, but if you play defensively, it is very hard to get those kills. Kuroky just constantly bottling, going back to Fountain whenever he needs to. And what can Lion do? He has lower move speed than the Queen of Pain once the boots come out. He is sitting back for the moment. He's guessing top. He gets a haste rune. And no wards up for S4. He may want to buy a new set soon. So, S4 in his first match here. How's it looking for him? Looking pretty good so far. CS is quite even. He's controlled the runes reasonably well. Even getting that 1 rune does make a big difference. Queen of Pain should really get them all in this matchup, unless she just doesn't want them. Unless Lion's going to get the runes, and she just would rather push. Kuroky strutting towards the bottom rune. Is it the moment to strike? He's just maxing mana drain. He's not taking any points in Hex. Just wants to make sure Kuroky never has any mana. There's your Shadow Strike, and then the back off. So he's going to win this purely by attrition. You would never see this in a 5v5 game, but it does seem like a smart adjustment in this 1v1 matchup because mana drain just is so you can permanently spam everything. And we're going to see Tranquil Boots next for S4. He doesn't need mana anymore. He can always mana drain the creeps, even if Queen of Pain blinks away. Oh, Kuroky! What a play! Actually manages to dodge the stun there, but
I leave this world.
Oh, that's what I was afraid of. There's your GG. This fat number 1 is going to go the way of S4. And the call to go to game 2. There it is. Wow. I think Kuroky just felt like he wasn't going to win this the longer it went because that was a bold move. So I got the player icons mixed up. But remember, this is a best out of 3, guys. The match is not over just yet. They'll switch sides, so the next round, we're going to see S4 on the Queen of Pain on the Radiant, and we're going to see Lion being played by Kuroky on the Dire side. So if you want to see more action for a Fistful of Tangoes, stay tuned, guys, because we'll have it coming up later today. But before we do that, we are going to have an amazing best out of 3. As we talk about that best out of 3, it is worth mentioning G League today. All the teams are tied up 1-1, 1-1 each. Their record's the same. The games are a bit different, though. 4Love is 3-2, DK is 2-3. As far as individual maps won. But the first match of today is going to be between 4Love and LGD, those two teams that I put them at the top of the group, but pretty much everyone's dead even. LGD has control of their own destiny in this matchup. And if any team that wins their match, they're moving on. The two teams that lose, it comes down to tiebreakers. So a lot at stake. Look forward to G League action. Should be coming up right after this. But for now, that wraps it up for the beginning of today's coverage for a Fistful of Tangos. For more action, stay tuned.